I'm Hannah Wallace and welcome to Finextra TV. Now, 2020 presented businesses of every size with a multitude of challenges, but they stepped up to the task, changing how they operate and what products and services they provided. On the line to shed some light on how the financial service sector is keeping up with the needs of the digitally empowered business community is Soren Mogensen, Chief Growth Officer and Financial Infrastructure Provider at Banking Circle. So welcome, Soren. Thank you very much for calling in today.
Well, thank you very much, Hannah. Nice to be here.
It's good to have you on. So yes, we're speaking off the back of some new research from Banking Circle, a white paper called 2020 Legacy, Better Banking Business, that looks at how banks are focusing on developing propositions fit for purpose for their customers beyond the pandemic. So let's start there. What did the research reveal, and what do you think is holding banks back from delivering the flexible solutions businesses need? Let's start there.
So exactly as you say, Hannah, at the end of 2020, we spoke to just about 300 C-suite decision makers at banks across Europe to talk about the internal and external and COVID-induced challenges that they face. And of course, there's a lot of elements to pull out, and there's no simple answer or simple synthesis. But one of the key findings that we came out with was that the underlying issue appears to be that costly and outdated legacy systems are holding banks back from serving corporate customers to the extent that they would like to. Now, 2020 has created an acceleration of the digitalization efforts of banks. And they have an even stronger ambition for collaboration than they've ever had before with partners on their digitalization efforts, simply because that is necessary for them to deliver the pace needed. They flagged some internal and external challenges. Internally, they flagged the challenge, well, 42% of banks flagged the challenge of existing infrastructure being one of the biggest internal challenges that they have to deliver good service to their customers. And equally, 40% of banks said that high customer expectations is a top three external challenge that they'd like to overcome increasingly in the coming years.
All right, that's interesting. Thanks for clarifying that. So what are banks already doing at the moment and also planning to do to tackle these challenges you've just highlighted?
Yeah. There's no silver bullet answer. There's no easy solution to it, of course. But one of the things that banks are increasingly doing is partnering up with external parties who specialize in an area that might not be core of the bank's management attention. So we found that half of the respondents already had partnerships or plan to work with an external provider within the next coming month. That's a big number. Half the banks basically in partnerships already, and we see that occur more and more.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's interesting. So why are banks choosing to work with external providers now then?
Well, if you take a big step, fintechs have come into this stage, 5-10 years ago, to basically deliver better customer experiences and basically be more focused in one of the areas of a banking stack, if you will. And that specialization and that customer attention has, I guess it has rubbed off on banks in a wide extent. But banks have also learned that sometimes it makes sense to take inspiration from fintechs. Other times it just makes sense to partner up and take the best of those niche specialized providers in that specific part of the stack.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was interesting. Over 2020, I think a lot of our speakers pointed out that partnerships have been taking even more of an important role. So yes, finally, that takes me to my last question then. What does 2021 look like for banks and how can they improve their customer experience then? Let's look at that.
Yeah, so 2021 seems to have started very much in the same way as 2020. But I think as we get to hopefully on the other side of the COVID circumstances, there is going to be an accelerated need to serve the bounce back of companies. and to learn from the circumstances that we have been through. I think that ever again increases the demand for strong customer propositions and indeed strong back-end solutions that can cater for that. I used to be a consultant, and back then I'd say that 70% of the efficiency from digitalization would come from the operational effectiveness in the back end of the bank. That is still the case, and that is also where, for example, we at Banking Circle can support the banks coming through 2021.
So watch this space, I think it's safe to say then, Soren.
Yes. Yes.
Brilliant. Well, some really interesting developments ahead then, and looking forward to seeing what Banking Circle are doing in this space. But for now, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing your insights. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.